So before we get into the sound design, I always like to lay down some kind of melody. In this case, I used a stock Logic E-piano. It has a really nice sound and it's good to just get something going before we can get into the sound design. Yeah, so simple melody, and now we get into Serum 2. In here we can start with the sound design. So in this case I want to have some kind of plug sound, and to do so we need to lower the slope of the envelope to this position. Yeah, maybe. And now, since we have this envelope, I think I want to change the wavetable. This one is really nice, and I think we can now tweak some parameters right here. Maybe we can increase the unison. Yeah, let's bring the detune down a little bit. Keep it like that for now. And now I want to add a filter. I actually want to control the filter with the LFO. So and then I want to apply some warp mode, and there are plenty of options we can use. I think I'm going for some kind of distortion. Maybe let's try this one. This is nice. What I always like to do with my instruments, I'll give it a little bit of portamento. This makes it glide. Yeah, it makes it a little bit more dynamic. We can layer the sound by activating another oscillator. And here we kind of do the same thing. So we choose a wavetable. This sounds really nice. Maybe we can increase the unison too. And right here we can also apply some distortion, apply some effects on this. First of all, I'm going with some kind of reverb, just a small reverb to give it a little bit more atmosphere. And after that, maybe delay could be good. Yeah, and we can make it like this, so it's not the same delay on every side of the stereo field. After that, some compression to glue the sound together. With this, our first instrument is ready, and now we're gonna make another one. This time I'm gonna use Vital. Another VST, similar workflow. We have our initial sine wave right here, and we can actually change that into all these different ones. But first of all, we need to think of the sound we want to create. I think what could match is some kind of chords. Let's quickly build some chords with the sine wave. So this is the melody I thought could be pretty nice. So now that we have our melody ready, we can start to design the sound. Yeah, I think this is a really nice sound because it's more like a sine wave. We can do the same as with the plug. I like to keep it short like that. By increasing the unison, I instantly like the sound even more. Maybe the unison detune can be a little bit lower. What we can do now is we route the LFO1 to the wavetable. And what I'm doing right now is just clicking through those presets, and I like how nervous this one sounds. Again, we can apply some effects right here, so I'm starting with a delay. Just slightly. Some distortion always is nice to have. low cut. This sound is really nice. These two sounds are pretty unique in their own way. So pretty repetitive, and it gives us a lot more structure. Every instrument we created until this point is completely unique, no presets used. Those things I did right here are not very complicated. You can do so much more with Serum 2, but that's what my capabilities allow me to do. Now I want to actually rely on presets again by using Surge XT, because now I need some catchy lead melody. I like the melody, but now we can add little notes on top of this melody to make use of the attribute every lead has. Every lead allows just one note to play at a time, so by adding these little notes on top of the melody, we can add those glitch effects I really like. On this position you can actually hear what I mean by the glitch effect. So before it gets to this note value, it has to go past this note value before. That's the first lead melody. And just like that, we have our chaotic melody ready. And this is the point we can actually start to think of processing. What I like to do is to group all of my melody elements together, creating a track stack, shaper box, and then we can just try different settings. What I like to do for this chaotic style is to turn up the tempo to something like 1/4. What I like about this preset is it doesn't change the melody too much from what we had originally. But it changes the groove in some kind of way. Lower the mix a little bit. Now we can apply this liquid preset. This one sounds really nice. Bring it down to about. Before we go to the next effect plugin, do some compression, because we want the sound to be squashed together. All the elements should stick together like a glue, and because of that we're using a compressor. Bring down the threshold a little bit. So now our sound is glued together. Some more chaos could be very nice for this kind of beat, and because of that I'm using Portal. Portal is another multi-effect plugin to get just a little bit more chaos. Ooh, I really like this one, but as I said, I want it to be pretty subtle, and because of that I'm bringing down the wet knob to about 20%. I actually like to add multiple ones because it makes the sound even more chaotic. I like this one. Maybe let's bring down the detune a little bit more. The melody now just needs some more compression to glue all the effects we applied in those previous steps. I like to use OTT because it just brings the brightness of the synths to its peak. Now we're actually at the point where we can start to lay down the drums. one small little trick I really like to use in recent times is to apply shaper box on the hi-hat, and right here we use the pan effect, increase the tempo of the cycle. As you can see, the hi-hat bounces from one side to another, and this brings another dynamic into the beat, which makes it sound more chaotic because you never know where the hi-hat is coming from. Now it's just time for me to arrange it. This was a typical workflow of mine when I want to create the instruments on my own or the presets I use on my own. So most of the presets we used for this track are made by ourselves, and as you could see, it was not really complicated to do those, but it's so much more fun if you can say that the sounds you used are actually your own and not just some presets you used. And yeah, so you get unique melodies out of this. I hope the video inspired you to make some of your instruments on your own. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and a subscription on this channel. It really means a lot. I'll see you in the next video.